Hey there, everybody. Well, the nightmare that we've gone through, that the world has gone through, particularly our country has gone through, seems to be coming to an end. And of course, it was horrible for our business. There was the coronavirus, and I think what I'm worried about now is the Salon virus, because I believe that a lot of tanning salons are in trouble and they've got to get their business back. Now, hopefully that you've gotten some you've gotten some funding rather from the government aid programs. I hope that you have. I'm going to assume that you do have some of that and you're ready to get back to business. So frankly, what it is right now, it's rebuilding time. It's time to get your salon back up and get over this, the fact that we were closed because of that coronavirus. It was horrible. I've never lived through anything like this in any of the industries. And for the last 30 years in the tanning industry, I've never seen anything like this. So it is rebuilding time. But I want you to concentrate on the fact that it's not time to waste that time that you have. And I think what I want to go over today is some secret numbers I've pulled out of our vault that are aggregate numbers from our clients. So these are things that you should work on because some of you were in trouble, as you know, before the virus hit. And it's because you really weren't looking at your numbers and how to correct them. So I'm going to show you some of the most, as I say, the most coveted success numbers from salon operation and that we bring out of the vault. We've unlocked them. Usually what we do is every year we have the numbers for peak season that we put in the vault for our vault members. This year, what I'm going to do right now, because we're past the virus and we need to get people back in action here, I want you to take your time, look at your numbers and start building your strategies to get those numbers up, because we don't have a lot of time here. Our peak season got kind of shot. So let's get down to it. Let's go through a bunch of these things. And I would say, and I've said all the time, that the numbers are kind of interlocking gears. One really provides increase for numbers on other numbers. So they're really, you can't separate them. And you need these tools to really help your numbers. What I'm going to show you are averages, and they are averages. And there are many salons that are above these average and some that are below them. But at least if you're at average or above average, you've got a good idea that you're going in the right direction. So let's talk about per tan average. Now, this is something for some of you that have been around for a long time and you're veterans. You think, well, this is no big deal, but maybe it will be if you look at the numbers. So and for you people that are new in the business, I just want to explain that per tan average, when we're talking about it, depending upon the software you have, it might be per sale average or PSA. Either way, it's the same thing. It's the total of services and lotions divided by the number of visits. And that's a real telling comment. So when I look at that number and it says a salon is not taking advantage of their tans, I look at this number. When new salons come to me and I'm seeing new clients come to me and their PTA averages between $4.79 and $6.70, my conclusion is that some tanners may be buying lotions and tanning sessions or packages, but it doesn't look like no one in the salon is really selling. It just happens to be what the customer is buying. And that's not a good thing, because it also says that they're subject to the 30-second syndrome, where a customer comes in the door and 30 seconds later they're back in the bed because no one's taking any time to really deal with the customer and probably sell them or upsell them into a better package or better levels of tanning or a longer commitment. Now, our average from our clients, PGC is Power Group companies, for 2019, our per tan average was $10.89. It's a very high average, but it's because we work with our clients so much, not only on selling lotions, but particularly on selling EFTs. And the more that you sell EFTs, the more that your per tan average is going to go up. You might see a high per tan average when you're doing a BOGO. Yes, you will, but that's only for that month or that week that you're doing a BOGO. You want a high per tan average over the whole year. Ours was $10.89. The first 60 days of 2020, new clients starting with us were at an average of $681. They were starting with us, and $4.08 below our 2019 established client average. So you want to consider the math on that. So if our average was 1089 and the people that were coming to us was 681, and I don't want you to get confused, up above when I said the range of 479 to 670, that's kind of an industry average. The people that came to us actually had an average of 681, but still down pretty low, but $4.08 below our average. And if you look at the math on it, it's kind of frightening, the amount of potential that was missed there. And you can see that even if you took half of the difference, just half of the difference between the average of our clients in 2019 and the clients, the new people that came to us and what their average was, if you only took half of the difference, or $2.04 times an average number by single salon of about 15,000 tans, and yes, there are salons with less, so let's say you had only 10,000, you could adjust the numbers, but at $2.04 difference at 15,000 tans, you're talking about $30,000 plus left on the table. And why is it that those numbers are low? Usually it's lotion average is a big one in there, because we find that our people working in those salons are not using the software to see when the customer last bought a lotion. Or they're selling too many packets because packets are cheap to sell. Or we find out that owners sometimes give a commission, just for selling packets. And there's debate on that. Should you do it just on bottles or on packets? But what we have is we have salespeople that are letting the customer be in there for 3 months without buying a lotion, and then just letting the customer buy a packet. The packet's crazy. What that does is you're only selling a packet for somebody being there for 90 days and tanning. You're almost encouraging them to go out and find a bottle of lotion cheap at Walmart or online with one of the lotion companies. So it's really, really important that our salespeople are looking at that software and saying, when did they last buy a lotion, but also looking at what level that they're tanning in. And so you start selling people on an EFT at, say, a middle level. A lot of people would call it a gold level, and you're taking in $45 or $50 a month, and you're doing a pro rate on that. So when the salesperson is collecting a pro rate in the first month's EFT draw, that's where you pump up that per tan average quite a bit. All right, let's move on here because I mentioned LPA. So let's talk about tans first, because I want to, before we move into lotion, I want to make sure that the newbies, people that are just getting into the business, that they understand that tans is critical, because tans or visits are an opportunity to take advantage for selling or upselling. And so if your tans are going down, that's a little scary. Now, tans can go down for a couple of different reasons. They can go down because maybe the experience that people had in coming to your salon was not particularly good, and they're not tanning as much as they used to, or whatever. Tans also can be representation of your marketing. Maybe you're not getting enough people in the door. But the biggie, the huge one, if you want your tans to go up, your opportunities to sell or upsell, is EFTs. As your EFTs go up, your tans are going to go up dramatically, because people are committing to longer terms of tanning. You want those tans to go up because it gives you those more opportunities for upselling. But you also want them to, particularly by way of EFTs, because that person is with you longer, and the longer they're with you, it gives you the opportunity to get them into a higher bed. Remember, the higher the beds we get people into, opposed to entry-level beds, we get them into higher beds, the chances are they become more bonded to your equipment and not to that fitness center that's got usually entry level or above entry level that people can't get into because they're waiting for it. They got to clean the beds or whatever. So we want tans up because it's a representation of more opportunities to sell, and it's a representation that we have the chance to get people bonded into higher equipment. Okay, so when I look at tans, let's say LPA, lotion per average, tan average, and I see 83 cents. had a dealer come to me 3 months ago. Their LPA average for last year was 83 cents. 83 cents. How can you possibly have an average of 83 cents a tan for lotions? I'm not sure how you do that. It's almost like your staff is in anti-lotion selling mode. And the average of those people coming to us, those newbies, was 83 cents to $1.69. And the conclusion from that is that really some tanners may be buying a lotion, but no one in the salon payroll was really selling lotions. When I see lotions that low, that to me is an immediate tip-off that the biggest problem the salon has is selling, because lotions is a different selling experience than EFTs. If you do your EFTs right, and if you do one of the selling sheets that we set our customers up with, it kind of self-sells because it shows the customer that this only gets cheaper per tan. And if you've been in some of my other webinars, you know what I'm talking about. But selling a lotion is a more intimate experience. You have to have more conversation with the customer. It's about bottle design, it's the smell, it's the feel of the lotion. It may also be the price, but it's the aspiration of, does the customer want to look like me? Not like me, Mr. Albino white guy here, but your person behind the counter. Do I want to look like that lady because she's got a good tan? So it is a more intimate sale. And we want our salespeople to be more intimate, in dealing with the customer. We don't want that 30-second syndrome that puts them back there without any conversation. But this just tells me that the staff is not selling. Okay, our client average for lotions last year was $2.89. So just look at the difference between the average out there in the industry, 83 cents to $1.69. So even if we say the first 60 days of 2020, new clients that were starting with us had an average of $1.43. $1.43 our average with established clients from last year. And this is single salons, chains, people with 2 salons, 3 salons. This is not just some big chain someplace in some big market. This is an average of $2.89. And so new clients starting with us were at $1.43 or $1.46 below our established client average. Consider the math again. Let's look at the math. And the math is 73 cents, even if we take half of the average difference, times the average number of 20,000 annual tans for a single salon. So that's 14 grand. Now, if you only got 10,000, you do the math, but you see what happens on having a low PTA or a low LPA, you're losing money. And so in preparation now and getting ready now for this post coronavirus thing that we were under, you've got to rebuild some of your numbers. Now, this isn't the best time, of course, of the year to do it. We lost most of our peak season, but as you're getting ready to open the doors again, look at your numbers and look at them by salesperson, because that tells you who was stronger at doing this than who wasn't so strong. Okay, let's talk about EFT close rate. EFT close rate is you take the number of EFTs sold by the salon and you divide it by the total tans to get the close rate. So of all of the tans or visits that were coming in, how many EFTs did you sell overall as a salon or as a chain or whatever? And you look at that close rate. You particularly want to look at it by person, by user ID that's selling for you, because it'll show you a vast range. Somebody that's really good at selling EFTs, some people particularly that are really bad at it. And it gives you a direction of who you've got to work with to retrain and to get them some inspiration to be talking to customers about EFTs. Now, when you look at this ratio, this EFT ratio, it looks kind of funky. It looks kind of low, because last year new clients came to us with a ratio, a close rate of only 1.9%. In other words, of all the visits that came in, only 1.9 or about 2% were buying an EFT. Now, there's reasons why that is low. Sometimes it's because that maybe people already have some kind of a package. They bought sessions, they bought a 30-day, maybe they even have an EFT or whatever. But the biggest reason is that we're not selling enough EFTs. If you sold EFTs, enough EFTs, you would end up with what our clients did last year, almost 4%. And you could still say, well, that number looks low. I'd love to see that number higher, but think of the difference between the clients that came to us at 1.9 and the established clients at 3.9. We were selling twice as many EFTs. The difference between those two is huge. And when you look at your average draw on EFT and you start to think about having twice as many EFTs in play that you had, it's enormous. And you're saying, John, it's going to be hard to sell EFTs now because we've lost a big part of the peak season. Well, I'll get to that in just a minute here. Okay, so the number looks small, but remember each year when we start the peak season, even worse now, but at least about 85% of the people that come through your door don't currently have a commitment to tanning, whether it's sessions or a package or an EFT. It's like we start all over, and this pandemic has made it much, much worse. We're starting all over again. My hope is, and of course, like all of you, is that there's going to be pent-up consumer demand on everything, including tanning. I'm just really hoping and praying that people realize, the tanners have realized that they don't have the color, and to celebrate, they go out, maybe they get their nails done, hair, face, whatever, massage, but they love to tan. So the reason I'm telling you about the 85% is that if employees say to you, we can't sell more EFTs because everybody has an EFT, that's baloney, because there's so many people out there currently do not have a package. And with this virus, it's probably much higher than 85. So utilize that number overall for the salons by each individual salesperson to see who is selling more EFT in proportion. So that's what you want to look at in looking at that EFT close rate. And then, of course, you get the EFT cancel rate, which is kind of just the opposite of the EFT close rate. You take the number of EFTs canceled by the transactions or transactions or TAN handled by each of the sales staff to get their close rate. You want to know who is handling more cancels than another, and obviously the lowest is the person that should be really helping your other employees to deflect people wanting to cancel their EFTs. And as you open, people that are on EFTs may be more likely to want to cancel right now. And there's incentives that you can give them. I'll talk about that in just a minute here. So last year, new clients had an average of 45% loss of EFT rate during the fourth quarter of 2019. This was new clients, not our established clients. By utilizing a salon credit for lotions. So let's say that you have a gold level 3-month or 6-month EFT that is drawing $50 a month, and you're giving them, after they've completed their payments, you're giving them a $30 or $40 salon credit on lotions. Some people do it also on upgrades. That's a possibility. But if you do it on lotions, the hard cost on a lotion for a $40 salon credit is probably about $8 for you. So it's really cheap. And so you can use it as a closer for selling the EFT in the first place. And you can also use it as a reason for people not to cancel their EFT before they've made all their payments. Watching the cancels of an overall salon and each salesperson's handling of customer inquiries to close, you can see who of your staff is better at both selling EFTs and better at handling cancel requests. And it comes down to that there's 4 what we call really great numbers, and those are what I'm talking about: PTA, LPA, EFT close rate, and EFT cancel rate. Now here's some post-virus sales initiatives. So have your people suggest that they buy any tanning services package. And this is not necessarily the things that I would suggest going into peak season, of course. It's now post-virus. Buy any package, 30-day or EFT, get a free $40 bottle of lotion. Again, if that costs you $8, it's worth it. Right now, you have to embrace what is called, what the big chains, not tanning salon chains, some of them do, but I'm talking about Target and Best Buy and whatever. There is CCA, or cost of customer acquisition. If it costs you $8 to get somebody to get into a 30-day package, so you've got them 12 or 14 times during the month, it's well worth it. Now you need feet in the door, people. You got to do whatever is necessary. Again, I may not have suggested this in peak season, but times are different. Okay, so utilize a free tan week. We did this earlier in the peak season with most of our clients in February. Well, all rules are off now. I would do it, as soon as you're back open, I would have a free tan week. You need to generate traffic, and you're saying, John, I need cash. Okay, I'll give you both sides of it. Free tan week. If you make it for the first 2 levels of tan, and for the next 2 levels, maybe you give them a special. Maybe it's $19.95, and they can tan in any one of your beds one time. It's like a tour package, or $19.95 all week to tan in the upper level beds. But you need people in the door, and a free tan week will get you traffic in the door. And believe me, your big mega chain competitor, they're going to be doing this because they need traffic in the door. Then I would say for the next week or 2 afterward, I would do a BOGO, because you need cash. So you got people in the door, you're trying to sell them to something, get them coming back. The next week, you're doing a BOGO deal. I don't like BOGO deals, particularly in the peak season, but we don't have a peak season anymore. BOGOs are very functional for developing cash. So a BOGO on sessions, a BOGO on a 30-day. I would not do a BOGO on anything on EFT. That's a whole different thing to talk about. But you do a BOGO on sessions and 30-day, but I would also put an expiration on it. Typically, I would do an expiration that ends, if I did it, say, in Black Friday week, I would have it expire at the end of January, so you're ready for the peak season. Now I think I'd let the expirations go through the end of the year, so you've got some traffic. If you want to get traffic being more active earlier, you make the BOGO expiration maybe 90 days to kind of force them to use the tanning they bought. And don't think that you're being mean and nasty with your customer, because you are giving them a 50% off deal with a BOGO. Okay, continue to promote memberships where you can. Lower cost per sessions, auto pay, salon credits. You know all the answers of why memberships, particularly that it's cheaper per tan if you do it right. If you work with us, we'll help you do it right. But I would not stop trying to promote memberships. It just might not be as easy after this situation we've just gone through. Segment out your software. Go for your VICs, your very important customers. There's a lot of people that are doing this already. I think that's important. Lori Vanderwall, I loved her video that she put out on Facebook. I think it was just a few days ago, where she said she segmented out her more important customers. That's a very wise thinking. And make sure that you go to them and upgrade them for free for 3 months, because they're your important customers. You want them back. And by the way, upgrading them not only gives them a value and says thank you for being a very important customer, but it's also self-serving for your salon. Because if they were tanning in a second level bed and you're giving a free upgrade for 3 months into that next level, pretty hard for them to come off that level, and you may just get them to tan for the rest of the year and into the peak season 2021. So it's a good way to draw the traffic of the VICs back in. If you have an EFT sign-up fee, which only about 15, maybe 20% at most people still have a sign-up fee, it's something that I think you really need to consider dropping, because I've watched it on video. I've seen it live in salons over particularly the last 10, 12 years. It sometimes is a deal, not a deal closer, it's a deal cancel. When your salesperson gets to a prorate amount, the first month draw, and then put on top of that 20 or 25 bucks for sign-up fee, sometimes that's too hard, particularly with this virus. People just don't have the money anymore. So I would suspend it. Maybe you'll never come back to it. Just a thought. A lotion exchange promo, get 50% discount on any lotion plus a week of free tans. hey, it's getting them back into the habit. And they bring in an old lotion. It could be some garbage that they brought someplace. What do we care? 50% discount, and if it's a $60 or $70 bottle of lotion and they can buy it for $35, it's still the raw cost to you was maybe $12. You're still making money on it, and you're still giving them a week of free tans. And if they tan free for that week, you're hoping that you can sell them to something else and that they'll want to go more than that week. Okay, more post-virus sales initiative free upgrade week for all tanners. A thought, not just your VICs. A $29 tour package for one tan in each level of equipment, including a spray booth. Yes, we're giving more stuff away, but we got to get feet back in the door and butts in beds. Decide if there's time still to prepare for summer vacation and wedding events for your promotions. Obviously, we've lost proms, we've lost graduations. I had 3 grandchildren that were graduating this spring. That's all gone, you know. So maybe we can still go after summer vacations and wedding events. Increase your EFT membership any way you can. I would increase EFT selling bonuses for your sales staff. Sounds like all I'm saying is giving money away. You've got to get people in the door. You've got to get people to get onto EFTs when you can. And if your salespeople will be motivated to selling more EFTs, EFTs is your absolute lifeline for the rest of the year. You got to have BOGOs right now to develop some cash, but you got to have some EFTs to get you through the end of this year. The end of this year, when you look back on it, you're going to say 2020 was an absolute bust sales-wise. There's no way. I think there's going to be very few salons that are going to be ahead of 2019. But you want more EFTs. It gets people into the end of the year and hopefully over into the next peak, where I think we're going to make a heck of a lot of money next year because this is going to be all behind us. Okay, so your first 2-3 weeks back in business, you must do whatever it takes, again, to get butts in beds. And remember, as you go out on your promotional charge when you're going to be opening your salon, make sure that your customers know that you are virus free, because customers are still going to have this virus thing in their head. They're still going to be thinking about it, even if we've reached the trajectory and the president and everybody says, I think it's okay to go back out into the sunlight. People are still going to be thinking about this. And remember, we are one of the most virus free environments of any place that a customer can go to. And that's because of our sterilization process, and our salon environment is virus free. Now, this is a mama lion protecting her cub against a male lion. It's a strange natural world out there when I hear that sometimes a male lion will try to eat a cub. And if you ever go after somebody's baby, particularly I think it's that maternal instinct maybe more than a paternal instinct is to protect their baby. And you got to get ready for your competition now, because and keep talking about how that you have a superior tanning experience. And remember that the enemy, your competition, wants your baby. Women salon owners tell me if they feel like they're a mother lion and they want to protect their baby, their salon. So this is not for the faint-hearted. If you ever had the chutzpah, if you ever had the brass to be strong on your salon and be aggressive over it, is the time to do it now. And if you don't know how to do it, for God's sake, call somebody like me, because I've done this 499 times, 499 individual salon clients. You got to get help. And if you don't know how to do it, get help. And I'm here, and I got testimonials up the yin yang. So if you want to make your EFT social and traditional marketing score a bigger audience and better direct sales, well, okay, don't just survive. You're going to have to thrive. And thriving for the rest of this year, you should have numbers that will be over the same period of last year. Not peak season. That's gone. Not much we can do that. It's not your fault, not any of our fault. This is something that happened. Thank you, Chinese. Okay, so don't just survive, thrive. There's my phone number. There's my email. Just give me a scream. Notice over on the left side it says also johnfarr.com/the vault. The vault is, if you're not a vault member, at 39 bucks a month, you're missing something big. 20,000 pages I've put in there of how to make your salon better. There's 59 webinars. There's graphics in there. There's email examples of emails that you can use. I mean, the vault is just there's the problem with the vault is there are actually too much content in there. It's unless you're really dedicated and you want to make your salon work, use the vault because so much is in there. Sometimes people look at it, the deer in the headlights, and maybe I should do a better job of, but I mean, there's so much in there. You can spend a lot of time listening to live webinars and pre-recorded webinars that will help you with your business, or call me, look at that number, or get on my email. And you know something about my background, been doing this for a long time, and it says 473. The actual number as of 2 weeks ago now is 499. So I know that we're going to have a very positive end of the year, and we're getting ready to open, and I hope that you're getting prepared, and that's what this webinar is about. So thank you for watching my webinars in the past. It's been great. And my Facebook, my gosh, the last 4 or 5 Facebooks, I think I've had 1,200 or 1,300 people coming to it, so really happy with that. Thank you. Let's go get them. Let's make 2020 still a success in proportion to what it could have been if we just sat around and did nothing. So thanks for watching.